In the early years of her life, her parents' unwavering loyalty marked the start of her path towards the church pews. Those holy moments left permanent marks on her soft body. Even though people still believed in an afterlife, there were still a lot of unknowns in the complicated web of Christian beliefs. She fought the ghosts of doubt, especially when she was going through the worst things in life. When she turned 25, the seeds of her change grew, making her life forever different and bringing her closer to God's embrace. As a child and young adult, she cared a lot about how she looked and stuck to strict diet plans to stay slim. But over time, her fascination turned into anorexia, a mental illness that deprived her body of nutrients it needed and made her weak. When she was 21, she developed anorexia, which made her limit the amount of food she ate and sometimes skip meals. Although she knew that her body was hurt, she believed that she had control over what she ate and how she looked. Over time, her eating disorder turned into a mental illness. It made her afraid of food and hate it totally, which made her lose a lot of weight. It was hard for her to do normal things by the time she was 25 because her anorexia had gotten so bad. Family and friends were worried about her and pushed her to get medical help. Her mental health was getting worse and worse, and she was in constant pain and misery because of it. Even though she had medical treatments and surgery, she didn't get better, which made her feel down and abandoned. Because the fight never stopped, she began to doubt her own strength and will. Still, the thoughts and support of her family and friends gave her strength and comfort. There was no way she was going to give up her fight. To find peace and strength inside, she turned to prayer and told God about her pain and confusion. Her faith became a reliable source of support. The fact that she was weak and healthy did not change, though. The public didn't like how thin she looked, which made her feel even more vulnerable and alone. One terrible night, a terrible tragedy happened. It was making her very sick, and she was having a hard time breathing. Her body was shaking so hard it felt like an earthquake inside it. Even though she couldn't calm down, she hoped it was only a temporary problem. She thought she was going to fall because her legs were getting weak. Fear set in as the thought of losing consciousness and life itself became very real. She finally passed out in her bedroom on the floor. Her awareness blurred, and the world didn't seem real anymore. She had the amazing experience of her mind leaving her body and rising like a free bird. She was so weak when she saw her body on the ground that it confused her. She had not planned to leave her body in that state. Because she didn't look at herself in mirrors for a long time, the picture made her body look ghostly pale and undernourished. Even though she had left her body behind, she was still in unbearable pain and suffering, like a cruel torturer who could not stop. It looked like her life and spirit were going away. She desperately tried to get things back to normal, but it didn't work. As she tried to scream for her mother, her voice got lost in the darkness, and she felt like she was locked up in a jail she couldn't see. As her screams went unheard, she became scared. She was amazed when all of a sudden a wide, spinning black pit appeared over her head. It kept spinning, as if it were ready to swallow her thoughts and awareness whole. She felt like she was going through a tunnel. She went into a completely dark place where she didn't feel any weight, and her body became very light for no reason. In the scary darkness, a single dim point of light pulled her forward, but it was a long way away. She came across a beautiful scene as she moved through the bright light. She found a lovely arrangement of fragrant flowers, each one a work of art in its own right. She was amazed at how perfect they were and couldn't stop looking at their tiny details. Looking ahead, she saw a faraway blue field that looked like it would be a place where no one would be hurt. This was a clear sign that she had reached a world beyond the stars. In this other world, a woman who looked like her grandmother stood in front of her. It looked like the figure was stuck in her 30s, even though her grandmother had died of cancer at 72 years old. She was very happy to see that her grandmother was happy and doing well in the next life. When her grandmother invited her to meet Jesus, she felt a huge wave of excitement go through her. It seemed strange to think that a long-held wish would finally come true and they would meet him. She noticed that the light was getting brighter as she walked through the field with her grandmother by her side. This made her feel better. A clear outline of a person drew closer, helping her see better. As he got closer, her heart told her that the figure was Jesus. When she looked into his eyes, she felt something that words could not describe. She started to cry uncontrollably. His soft gaze fell on her, calming her like a mother comforting her child. In an instant, she was at peace. She talked about her struggles with anorexia and the mean people she met. He told her that he would always love and care for her, and he also gave her a deep knowledge. His words of comfort offered to heal her hurt heart. Jesus took on a body that could be recognized. He had brown eyes and dark hair, a strong personality, and simple clothes that were dressed in a symbolic way. There was something deep about how simple he was compared to how smart and strong he was. His smile, which showed how unimportant looks are, was in reaction to her joke about how handsome he was. His kind personality made her feel better, and the laughs they shared made their relationship stronger. He told her everything she needed to know about life and answered all of her questions. There was a deep link between them that they didn't say. As a job, he told her to come back and tell him what she had found. Her unwavering commitment was met with an embrace that sent out deep love and power, as if the whole universe were behind her. There is no doubt that this hug changed her forever. It gave her strength and hope. As she came back to her body, she felt like she was falling from very high places. She sat up and saw a bed in front of her. It was a very different scene from the peaceful world she had left behind. She felt a strong desire for that world where there was no pain or loss and only peace and a comforting hug. She refused to go to the hospital, even though her mother told her to, because she was confused and dizzy and would rather rest than get help. As she lay back, she thought about her amazing journey, which was a moving mix of wanting to go to heaven and accepting her role on earth. She was hungry again, which made her feel strange after all these years. Every taste and sensation was a real treat that has long since passed. In the following days, her mother made an appointment to see a doctor. At first glance, there didn't seem to be any problems. But the doctor was confused, and later he made a strange discovery. Her kidney function had suddenly gone back to normal, which made everyone in the medical community confused. She said that Jesus' touch from heaven healed both her body and spirit, which led to her amazing recovery. A doctor checkup after one lunar cycle showed that the person had gained a lot of weight and their health had gotten a lot better. She felt braver after telling her mother about her amazing trip. Unfortunately, most of the answers were suspicious, especially when she talked about her grandmother. Her mother thought she got these facts from somewhere else because her grandmother had never told her this story, only shown her in a picture. Even as she tried to convince her mother with more information, she still had doubts. Because she was down, she chose to be quiet when people were skeptical. She was dealing with a strong feeling of loneliness in the middle of her real experience. Even though people around her were doubtful, her faith did not weaken. She was still at home in the sky, where Jesus was waiting for her. She felt strong because of her strong views and the fact that she could feel God all around her. When things were unclear in the outside world, she put her trust in God to lead her and keep her safe.